Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.
Okay, I'm here with Mike Safet. Mike, thanks for joining us on the podcast. You're from the Veteran Car Club and we're standing in front of your beautiful 1959 FC Holden, and I must say this is a spectacular car at the very least. This is a beautiful car. Tell us a little bit about it.
We've got a great story. This was bought from this particular place here at City Motors on the 27th of January 1959. My father, who's come out of Albania, so a foreigner, came here and he saved and saved and saved because this is the Rolls Royce. This was the Rolls Royce of Holden's, and he had to have one with all the bling on it. So we've had it in the family since new. I ended up warehousing it for about 33 years. So 1987, I think we took it off the road. And then my father's grandchild, which is my number one son, him and myself, we restored it, stripped it right back to absolutely zero, and everything on it is original as much as we can buy or find, and what we couldn't get we made, and the result is this beautiful car. The beauty of it also was that my son was taken to hospital with my wife being pregnant to be born, so it has a bit of history there. I have a sister that was married in it, and my dear old mum, who's 94, once we restored it, we then had a big presentation, so she came, put her in the car, took her for a drive, and there was tears in our eyes. And even on the glove box, I've got my father's signature, because that's his car. His name was Charlie. He was known as Charlie.
What a magnificent story. So let me get this right. Your father would have come out here like a lot of Europeans did in the mid-50s, am I guessing right?
Early 50s. And he had to escape out of the country, as a lot of those people did back then. Very hard worker, and definitely saved and saved and saved until he was able to buy one of these.
That's the beauty of Mike. I mean, a lot of immigrants to Australia back in those days would have done the same. But this is not just the standard. You said that before. This is the special. This one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. This one's got all the bling on it. It's a bit of a copy from the American Chevy, of course, and a lot of the colouring, like the roof lining, the upholstery in the seats, is all from America, from the 53, 54 Chevys. And we were able to get a lot of that gear from America to build this car back to where it was. It's a 2-year project, and it was finished in March of this year. And of course, then we've had COVID and rain, and now it's just our pleasure to show it as a family heirloom. Beautiful.
Yeah, it is a beautiful car, I must say, Mike, and you've done a magnificent job restoring it. Well, can I just ask a quick question? So when you stored it in the garage, you said, for a reasonable amount of time, what sort of condition, when you did the full restore, what was it in when you put it back out of the shed?
We're fairly fortunate because my father, when he had the car, if it rained and he took it home, he would wipe it down. So there was very limited body work that we had to do. But regardless of that, yeah, it had deteriorated from just sitting, even though it had a cover on it. And then when we actually did the restore, we stripped it down to absolutely every nut, bolt. There wasn't a scrap of paint on it, and the underneath of this vehicle is exactly the same as the top.
Yeah, amazing vehicle. It is beautiful, and we'll get if you're watching this, if you're listening to the podcast, I urge you to go back and watch the video, because the car is absolutely magnificent. Mike, look, thanks for joining us on the podcast here. And thank you for sharing your story. It's a great story, and look, I mean, it's a magnificent job, and we really appreciate you bringing out the car today as well. The weather's not the best, and I'm sure this car hasn't been wet for 40 odd years, I would assume.
That's right, yeah, and it's our pleasure because it's not just our family heirloom. We want to share this. It's an Australian icon, and when we had the opportunity to come back to City Motors, which has still got the transfer under the bonnet here, it was just a wonderful time for us. So personally, it's very emotional.
Yeah. No, thanks, Mike. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.